until Wednesday, January 13th at 5 p.m.
May I take a moment to defend my colleagues in due respect when you're done with this?
You can as soon as I lay out. I'm going to ask the witnesses to answer and return the questions to the committee by January 27th at 5 p.m. Go ahead, Senator White.
Two things. One, while a legal proceeding is ongoing and a notice of appeal has been filed with respect to Judge Boardman's sentencing, and having been a prosecutor, even from the prosecutorial side, I don't think that hectoring the judicial appellate process from Congress is appropriate or helpful. That is an ongoing process. The second is, you said that none of us had presented any basis by which Judge Boasberg could have justified the NDOs. We actually did in three respects. First, there's a proffer of some kind out there. We can always get access to that, and I'm happy to pursue that. Second, we can get answers from Jack Smith. What did he say? What did they know? And the third is that it's not hard to deduce from his testimony in the House that his rationale for allowing that was that the Trump conspiracy had a track record of interfering with investigations and attempting to intimidate witnesses, an established track record. So I've never done a case involving a sitting president, but I've done cases involving criminal groups. And the fact that people's toll records have been sought and a non-disclosure order has been sought can often mean that the danger in the case is not that those witnesses will misbehave, but the subject of the criminal investigation will endeavor to interfere with those witnesses, tamper with those witnesses, destroy related evidence to what those witnesses might say to try to undermine the investigation. It is at least plausible that the entire responsibility for the non-disclosure order was foreseeable misconduct by Donald Trump and his co-conspirators, and not any foreseeable misconduct by colleagues. Thank you.
And I would note that Senator Whitehouse's novel defense there, which is that Donald Trump was engaged in a massive conspiracy, it's essentially a longer version of Orange Man Bad, that might conceivably justify a non-disclosure order to President Trump. I don't think it would, but it conceivably would. You're suggesting it relates to his conduct. Except
non-disclosure orders work, but I've got to go because I'm due on the floor.
I will point out that Judge Boasberg did not know or allegedly did not know who the targets were, which means it was any of 330 million Americans. He had no idea, and yet he was willing to enter a finding with no basis in fact. If you don't know who it is, you can't have a basis for fact, but he didn't care. He didn't care because Republicans bad, and as Senator Hirono said, well, gosh, the fact that you spoke to President Trump on the phone, all right, I'm going to confess, I spoke with President Trump on the phone the day before yesterday. And if that is sufficient to subpoena the phone members of any member of the United States Senate, then we are seeing the separation of powers and the rule of law profoundly undermined. I'm going to make a prediction. The letter that I sent today to the Speaker of the House urging that Judge Boasberg and Boardman be impeached, I believe the House will impeach both of them. And I believe both of those impeachments will go to the Senate, and my colleagues on the Democrat aisle will have every opportunity to make all of these arguments in the trial that we have, although I will tell you, particularly for Judge Boardman, it ought to be ominous foreshadowing that not a single Democrat was willing to defend her the first time. We'll see what happens when it's an actual impeachment trial. And with that, the witnesses are thanked again, and this hearing is concluded.